Hey friends, those of you that know me and watch my videos know that I'm not an outwardly eager, excited person when it comes to revolvers. Just never been my thing. I don't have anything personal against them. It's just that I use my pistols, my guns, my firearms as tools, self-defense tools, and I just feel like I get a whole lot more with a semi-auto. Not just in terms of round count, but just in other ways, functionality and things like that, ease of use or whatever. So don't be offended if I don't get really giddy and excited whenever I review today's gun. This is the standard manufacturing S333, the Thunderstruck. Very unique gun here. The gun, first of all, is a 22 Magnum, but one of the most noticeable characteristics that you're going to see is there is no trigger guard on this thing. Now, a couple of reasons for that. Your trigger guard would be all the way down here because notice the length of the trigger. The reason why the trigger is so long is because you use two fingers to engage the trigger. And you'll also notice another thing about it. You'll see the little tang on there, very similar to what you would see on a Glock and many semi-automatic striker-fired pistols out there. This does the same thing that it does on your Glock and any other one of those semi-autos. It actually has a control arm, a control bar that's going to move out of the way whenever you press that little tang right there, and it's going to allow your firing pin to go forward and, of course, hit the round. So that's what that is right there. Notice it's also just up at the top there. My guess, the reason why it's only where your pointer finger would be, you got your pointer finger and your middle finger that'll be used to engage the trigger mechanism. My guess behind that is because this is an open trigger guard, that if you had that thing extend all the way down to here, you would probably have the potential of a piece of clothes or something snagging on it if it were all the way down to here and potentially engaging the trigger. Personally, I don't see that happening. I have dry fired this pistol a few times and it's extremely hard to dry fire. This is a double action pistol. What that means is whenever you are pulling this trigger, you're rotating the cycle, you're moving that bar out of the way, that transfer bar out of the way, you're cocking your hammer back, and then you're releasing that hammer, all with the pull of the trigger. So it's a very hard and deliberate trigger pull. You are not going to accidentally pull this trigger. If you accidentally were to pull this trigger by putting this gun into your pocket, you are way incapable of handling and holstering a firearm. So again, it would have to be gross negligence if you were to accidentally fire this gun. It's just, I don't see it happening. From a safety standpoint, very safe. I see this pistol as being extremely safe. Now, speaking of the trigger pulls, you're gonna, of course, open the cylinder up just like you normally would with your release button there. You're gonna notice that this thing is holding, it's got room to hold 8 rounds in it. This is not an 8-shot pistol. This is a 4-shot pistol. The reason why is because it is actually shooting, if you look at the barrel, it's 2 rounds at a time. You are shooting 2 22 Magnum rounds for every trigger pull that you pull. So even though we're holding 8, we are only getting 4 shots off. Now this thing is marketed as a self-defense pistol. I suppose in some cases of last resort, this could be a self-defense pistol. I feel like with the price tag that comes with it, I know they tout themselves as being a low recoil gun because it is a 22 Magnum. But if this is being marketed as a self-defense pistol and for the price that you can get this thing for around that $400 mark, slightly below that, guys, there are a whole lot of self-defense pistols out there that you could get that had equal recoil, amounts of recoil as this and be more beneficial. Some people have this misconception that because revolvers are reliable, because they're so easy to use, that they're always a better option. I don't believe that's true. I feel like if you maintain your weapons and take care of them the proper way, that you can just get just as much reliability out of a semi-automatic pistol as you can out of a revolver. Again, it requires maintenance and care. You cannot just continuously abuse a gun. You can't abuse this and have it work all the time perfectly. You still have to maintain this. The sights are a painted red dot sight, obviously not an electronic red dot or anything like that, not a fiber, but a painted red dot. And this thing being marketed as a self-defense gun, that's probably great in daytime shooting, that you're going to be able to easily see those red painted, almost looks like fingernail polish on the front and the rear sights. But at nighttime, it's going to be a moot point. You're not going to be able to see those sights. But again, this is more of a point and shoot self-defense gun in that respect anyway. So the finish, it's got a nice anodized finish to it. It looks like a very durable finish. I don't think you would have any problem with that. I do feel like if you were wanting to put this thing in a pocket and you lived on a farm, let's say for instance you were going to slaughter a pig or a hog every now and then. You know, I know that friends of mine, when I grew up out in the country, they raised hogs, and you know, their dad would shoot the hogs in the forehead. I know that's kind of hard to stomach for some people, but it's the world we live in. That's how he would slaughter the pig. He would put a round right in their forehead, and most of the other animals that they ate on the farm as well. This could probably be a pretty effective pistol for that. Again, you're talking about 2 rounds there, so if you could have an 800-pound hog and put this thing on his head and he's going to drop. So I do see some things. Probably a varmint gun. It would be a good varmint gun. You could put some birdshot in here. 22 Magnum with birdshot with a varmint gun, not bad. You know, this would be a good farm gun to have. Again, it's not going to go off by itself, bouncing around, falling, dropping, or anything like that. So you could have it in a tractor, a four-wheeler, or something like that, and utilize, again, for a varmint gun. You don't have to put birdshot in. You could, you know, keep your normal projectile in it. It shoots fine. I had no problem shooting this thing. It is a revolver, so it's not like you're going to experience anything that you would experience with a semi-auto. It has minimal recoil to it, controllable recoil. I feel like the grip on it is managed and built properly to be able to manage all of that recoil. No problem with it. One thing that I'm not real fond of with this pistol is that it doesn't release my spent casings as easily as it should. Most revolvers that you have, you simply pop open using the release lever and you expose your spent casings. These are all spent casings. All 8 have been fired. And you press this lever right here to push your rounds out. Now, maybe I need to go back and read the instruction manual to see if there was a specific kind of 22 Magnum that I'm supposed to use. But when you try to push, again, I'm pushing this lever right here. When you try to push it out, you see the little, I don't know what it's called, because again, I'm not a revolver guy. You can see this little guy right here trying to move forward. See how it's trying to dislodge those spent casings? And it's not able to. I am putting a good bit of force on here. There we go. There it comes out. But as you can see, my spent casings are still, I'm having to pull them out. All right, again, guys, unless I'm doing something wrong, unless I'm using the wrong ammo, this should not be happening. Let's try it again. That's the second cylinder of 8 that I've fired. Let me try to run the rest of this box through here. I don't know how to make that any easier. Looking at these casings, these are not brass casings. Maybe that's why. But if I go to push one in, you can see as it gets in, it gets a little tougher. Now let's see if that single one will come out by itself. Yeah, I mean, it pushes out a lot easier once I've gotten them out. Still doesn't fall out, but let me go ahead and load 8 more of these guys in here. And they seem to go in okay. You know, they don't fall in the cylinder. Well, actually that one did too. It may be just a wear thing. Maybe it's simply wearing them. Again, these are not brass. I guess that's possible that had something to do with it, but maybe it's just a wear, because again, these are falling in. Let's go shoot this thing again and see. It's got to be because of the type of casings that they are. That should never be like that. That I should be able to push that little lever right there and all 8 should pop right out. This whole mess of not being able to extract my spent casings, that's a deal breaker for me. I'm sorry, but that's a big deal to me.